3 minutes is hardly enough time to discuss some of the chaos that's occurred since you took the helm of the department, from funding pauses that create confusion to mass firings at DOT that weaken the ability to get funding out the door. Your actions contradict your stated goal of promoting community safety across the country. For example, it's evident in your directive to the DOT to hold off on money to support local immigration cooperation. In what world does stopping the construction of a grade construction so kids don't have to crawl under idling trains make communities safer? DOT funding has nothing to do with immigration enforcement, yet you attempt to use it as leverage to advance this administration's cruel agenda. It's blatantly illegal, which is why a judge put a stop to it last month. And that brings me to another issue before the courts, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, or DBE. Thanks again to the ranking member for allowing me to introduce into the record letters supporting the program from DBEs across the country. And I was gathering input in my district for surface transportation priorities. The message from groups was clear. The DBE program has helped level the playing field in a historically exclusionary sector, and its elimination would reimpose barriers for small businesses owned by minorities and women. And you want to make it even harder for them, Mr. Secretary? Your proposed budget zeroes out funding for the Small Business Transportation Resource Centers. These centers provide technical assistance and individual businesses advising at no cost to all small businesses in the transportation industry. In the Great Lakes region, the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce has provided over 700 small business owners from all backgrounds with help to bid on government contracts. Mr. Chair, I'd like to submit this letter from the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for the record, describing the vital role of small business transportation resource centers. Mr. Secretary, this is what I do want to ask you. Why does your proposed 2026 budget aim to cancel programs that support small businesses?
No, there's nothing to cancel small businesses, but we got away with race preferences a long time ago. So I don't think we should.
I'm asking you about small businesses, Mr. Secretary.
Small businesses, no, but if you want preferences for race and sex, I think
I'm asking you about small businesses. That's the question.
And really quickly, I think you should follow the law. And if you have your states that care more
Question
about
is about small businesses, Secretary. Would you answer the question as it relates to your 2026
you shouldn't
budget?
harbor or impede ICE.
You're not going to answer the question?
The gentleman's time has expired.
Thank you.
You know, just recently, just as of yesterday, we passed the Coast Guard Reauthorization Act of 2025. You know, that's going to be a great win.
Great
for
win.
the Coast Guard. It's going to be a great win for the American shipbuilder, the maritime industry, and it's just going to do so many good things for the country, and I'm very proud to be a part of that. As you well know, the Department of Transportation is so critical in sustaining a strong American maritime industry, and a core component of that is supporting the Jones Act. You were very supportive of the Jones Act during your confirmation hearing, which I appreciate it. You know, it supports 650,000 jobs, $154 billion in economic output. And, you know, would you agree, you know, that would you support how crucial this is in advancing the President's shipbuilding and maritime agenda?
It's critical. And by the way, wouldn't it be great if we didn't need the Jones Act? 'Cause we're building so many ships and we're so competitive and you have so many mariners. That'd be great, but this is important to preserving American shipping as we go through this process of revitalizing through the ships building EO. And I'll have some proposals for all of you on how we can fund it and get back in the game of control and owning our seas.
Outstanding. Mr. Chairman, I want to submit a government accountability report for the record. Commercial Shipbuilding Maritime Administration needs to improve financial assistance program for the record, please. Mr. Secretary, this report is very concerning, specifically the section regarding the federal ship financing program. Only 2 loans have been guaranteed within the past 5 years under the Biden administration. Not to mention nearly 75% of all shipbuilders that participated in the program said it's not even a viable means of financing projects. Mr. Secretary, what is your team doing to examine the ineffective Biden financing programs such as the federal ship financing program?
So this has been a focus of the department, and again, a focus of the president. Again, through that coordination, through that planning of how we're going to need the help from Congress, we have put a significant effort. And again, we're not trying to slow walk shipbuilding in America, maybe like the last administration. We think it has to be supercharged. And it's going to be our partnership that's going to make that happen. And so we are moving as quickly as possible to get as much money out the door that we have to our avail.
Thank you. One more thing I'd just like to throw for my extra 15 seconds, Mr. Chairman, is that anybody in this room that cuts grass, has their own lawnmower, cuts their own grass, we have to buy these gas cans now that you absolutely can't fill up or pour gas out of. Do you have any control over the gas cans in this country that we could go back to a normal gas can to fill up a lawnmower?
Here. Yeah, we would do washers and dryers and dishwashers too that don't work, but yeah.
Lawnmower
Mr.
gas.
Pappas.
Fill my
Thank
boat
you,
with it,
guys.
they don't work, you're right.
I want to call your attention to a letter that I wrote to you last month, which was signed by many of my colleagues here today on this committee, regarding staffing at Federal Highway Division offices. As you're aware, the FHA has seen a 26% reduction in force since May. My concerns with the division offices in ensuring that they have enough staff to fulfill their critical mission to our state DOTs, providing frontline assistance in transportation project development and delivery. Reports have indicated that division offices in North Carolina and Texas have experienced a reduction in staff of 50% and 60% respectively. And so based on current data on the Federal Highway website, over half the division offices were understaffed prior to the staffing cuts taking effect. So the support these offices provide to their states is critical, and in turn, the department must ensure that these division offices have staffing resources and support to accomplish their job. I'm wondering if you can talk more about the reduction in force, how that's impacting division offices, and whether the department has a plan to ensure that each office has necessary staffing to support state DOTs.
So thank you for the question. And just to be clear, when we did our reduction in force, we preserved all of the critical safety positions. But we are trying to do more, we're trying to do more with less. And if we're ineffective and we need more people on board to make sure we accomplish the mission, I'll bring them in. And it's my desire, and I know yours, and the president's desire to make sure we're building, getting money out the door and doing these great projects. That was his directive to me. And so if I see issues where we can't get our job done, I'll bring more people in. But I think we can do more with less. And if we can't, we'll accommodate.
Well, we're going to be watching it closely, and I think we need more than just hopes. We need concrete plans. But I want to move on to another issue. In January of this year, New Hampshire was set to receive $17 million in NEVI funding for EV charging infrastructure. It was going to build out a statewide network in New Hampshire, which is really critical to our tourism economy in particular. A recent study came out saying that if we lose these dollars and don't build out the charging network, we could risk $1.4 billion in economic activity in our state around tourism in total. So I'm wondering if you can talk to us a little bit about the suspension of NEVI funds and new guidance that we are awaiting. It was supposed to be released weeks ago. And where does that stand? Where can we expect this to go? Our state's counting on these dollars.
Yeah, thank you for that question too. So again, if you're going to spend money on chargers, I might disagree with how you spent that money, which I do, but it's my job to spend per the will of the Congress. But the last administration had so many rules in place, your states had a hard time deploying the capital to build the charging stations, which is why you only had like 78 chargers built in the country. And so I wanted to redo the guidance, which I have. I've sent it to OMB, waiting to get that back from them, and then I'll send it over to all of you. But if you're going to spend money on chargers, let's build chargers in America. Let's not just spend money and not get the result of a charger, which is, you don't want to spend the money, you want the chargers in your state. So I think the new guidance is going to give, again, far more flexibility to your states. And I've done my part waiting to get it back from OMB, and I think you'll be happier.
I agree. We're ready to put shovels in the ground to New Hampshire. So I yield back.
Certainly, I represent the district that is most negatively impacted by the California high-speed rail's nightmare. It starts at a field out north of Bakersfield and ends in a field south of Merced. and it's wasting billions of dollars. So I want to thank you for your work to roll back the funding for this failed project so that we can focus on more viable projects. Want to encourage you, if you can, to take the opportunity to redirect those federal funds to truly needed transportation projects in California, such as expanding the State Route 99 or Interstate 5, critical supply chain corridors in California. Moving to aviation, safety clearly is your highest priority and our highest priority. I want to thank you for your efforts to modernize and bring additional safety measures to our aviation industry. A major component of that is our air system is the rigorous training and qualification standards for airline pilots. Since the implementation of the 1,500-hour rule for pilot certification and qualifications in 2013, fatal airline crashes have declined by 99.8%. These standards help set our safety standards. I wanted to get your take and see if you could comment on the pilot training and qualification standards, whether they should be maintained, as I think they should, or should they change in any fashion?
First, I want to thank you for your support on what we've done at California High-Speed Rail. Appreciate your partnership and someone from the state who can delineate how it's been so wasteful and not delivered for the taxpayers in the country, but also in California. In regard to 1,500-hour rule, I have no plan to change it. But what I would do is say if there's data that would say if there's some level 4 simulators that can give pilots experiences that they can't get in their Cessna, to have them truly ready for what might be thrown at them while they're in the air, would I consider that and have a conversation with all of you? Of course I would, because all of us want to make sure we have well-trained pilots in the cockpit, especially on the planes that you and your family fly on. So no plans to change, but I would always be open to new data that might drive more innovation to have better pilots in the cockpit.
Thank you. And my last question, I appreciate your commitment and appreciate the President's commitment and to assure that our nation is on the cutting edge of technology, adopting technology like autonomous driving technologies, allowing them to mature. I wanted to see if you could outline your vision of how these technologies can aid our transportation system through enhancing efficiency, safety, and prosperity.
We're talking about technology on our roadways, or
specifically to autonomous driving technology, autonomous AV technology.
Yeah, so listen, I think it's important that we continue to we got to get data from the companies, right? And data will allow us to make better rules. This is the Goldilocks philosophy. We can't go too fast, we can't go too slow, but we want this innovation to happen in America. And we have great innovators. We should have one federal standard. I think this patchwork of state by state is not going to work long term, so we're working with all of the manufacturers to develop a standard that's going to work and keep everybody safe. By the way, I think the 40,000 deaths we have a year, I think this is the real space that can drive down those deaths. The human eye, along with this technology, is going to save lives.
Thank you. I have legislation on that, and I look forward to working with you. I yield back.
Quick quote, these bullet trains, they're unbelievably fast, unbelievably comfortable. We don't have anything like that, anything close. It doesn't make any sense that we don't. Who's that from?
I missed the first part of it. Is that me?
President Trump.
President Trump.
Right, and so I appreciate
So aligned with him, that could have been mine or his, I don't know.
Could have been you. I appreciate your point that we need to make high-speed rail work, but you're not
Yes.
just opposed to high-speed rail. Can you name a couple other first world countries that don't have or aren't building high-speed rail?
It would be hard for me to name some.
Literally, I thought of New Zealand. Morocco has it. Egypt is building
Everybody.
it. I mean, it's crazy, right?
It's
so we got to
ridiculous.
make it work. Now, you believe in the free market, right?
100%.
So shouldn't there be a level playing field between different modes? So like high-speed rail competes with airlines, competes with highways. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, I have no objection to that.
Because
no.
right now, we just subsidize airports and highways. I mean, we're drastically raising billions and billions of dollars of additional subsidies for...
We do subsidize rail as well.
We do, but not nearly to the tune of airports and highways. And so my guess is that there's not some vast high-speed rail conspiracy that's infected every other country in the world and just hasn't come to America yet. So we got to figure out how to make this work.
I would agree. And I think what we have to, a lot of the
It could be
problems-
RFK Jr.'s vaccine strategy that's kept us high-speed rail free.
I think I would welcome that conversation, because I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of rules and permits that are required that make it
drive
more
up the
difficult
cost.
in America versus elsewhere. But I'm open to, you give good money for us to invest in high-speed rail. I want to see a project that we can do it. I've been tentatively supportive of Brightline West, LA to Las Vegas. Want to see how they do. There was conversations about Dallas to Houston. We took out Amtrak, but maybe other providers will come in there. It'd be great if we could have it on the northeast corridor, but it's too windy, and if we could figure out a way to do that, that would be great. But let's figure
Great,
it out.
well, let's work on it together. I very much appreciate
But let's
that.
not spend money to not have a deliverable. Let's
Exactly.
get a deliverable.
No, I agree with you. Another quick quote. One entered the city like a god, one scuttles in now like a rat. Know where that comes from?
I don't know.
It's talking about Penn Station. I understand that you are on board with Americans having a station in New York that they can actually be proud of, like London
Yes.
St. Pancras or something.
100%.
Another possibility is to do through running so trains don't come in from Long Island and turn around and back. All right, let's work on that because it will dramatically boost efficiency.
Otherwise, why are we doing it, right? We might have a facade and a...
Well, you got to get New Jersey people and New Long Island people to talk to each other. You might be better at that than I am.
I don't know why you... But
Look, there's an opportunity for that.
We're working on that.
Great, thank you. And there's an opportunity for that in Boston as well, because you have North Station and South Station. They're a mile apart. They were supposed to be connected. The project was delayed originally by World War I. So we'd like to see Boston Crossrail going. It would connect the Northeast Corridor from Virginia to Maine.
I haven't looked at that, but I will.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I appreciate it. I look forward to working with you.
Let's work together on these issues.
We will. Great, thanks. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
From this great state of Wisconsin.
Some would say the greatest state.
Exactly. Hey, for taking the time to appear here before this committee, I want to commend you on the department's work over the last several months to return the DOT to its core mission while prioritizing safety at the same time. I would also like to commend you and your staff's commitment to working through the existing backlog of discretionary grant programs. Since taking office, several groups from my constituency have approached my office looking for assistance relating to the grants that they were awarded, and I'm thankful that your department has been responsive and you provide regular updates on the review process, so I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Secretary Duffy, as a former lumberjack and representative of Wisconsin's North Woods, like me, you have firsthand knowledge of the unique transportation challenges facing our timber industry. As you know, loaded logging trucks at the state legal weights are currently prohibited from traveling on interstate highways, forcing them to travel through small towns on two-way roads, passing schools, driveways, stoplights. The Safe Routes bill, which I am sponsoring, would fix this, allowing these overweight logging trucks to access the interstate system for short-haul trips from their source to processing facilities. Given your own background and experience with this topic, could you elaborate on the need for this legislation, and is there any way DOT could help us implement a fix for this?
So I'm going to shamefully say that I was focused on that like you were when I was in Congress, and I should bring that attention back to the issue now at DOT and would welcome the chance to look at your bill and work together. But again, it's a huge issue for our loggers.
Great, thank you.
And but the safety of our communities as well. You're right. These big logging trucks are going through these small town stoplights, sidewalks right there, and I think it's a problem that has to be addressed.
Great, and I think if Wisconsin thinks it's okay, I think we should be okay with it at the federal government level too, so.
You're probably right.
All right. Last question. The Biden administration, of course, advanced an energy agenda that picked winners and losers and promoted technology that's not ready for prime time, and it disregarded consumer choice and really was a cost to taxpayers. Under the Biden administration, DOT prioritized investments in constructing these electric vehicle charging stations, though we know that those efforts were largely unsuccessful and produced a limited number of stations. The president's budget request called for the cancellation and rescission of these funds, something that my bill, H.R. 1513, also aims to achieve. Mr. Secretary, can you explain why this funding was largely unsuccessful and why there does not need to be a standalone program for electric vehicle infrastructure?
There were so many rules around how the money could be spent, and it polluted with ideas of the DEI and all the green work, which made it really challenging for states to build, which is why I only have 78 chargers in place. And so my commitment is, I'm going to do what you say. I respect the body. I served in the body. I'm trying to redo the guidelines. So if you want to build, you can. But I am also supportive of being a good steward of the tax money, and I support the president's proposal to pull the cash.
Great, thank you, Mr.
But
Secretary.
until then,
I
I'm
yield back.
going to execute per your will.
Excellent, thank you. I yield back.